Hi, I'm Joe Hines, and today I'm joined by Democratic candidate Colonel Pamela Stevenson, and we're outside of the old Capitol building here in Frankfort, Kentucky. Starting off, you're one of the candidates running to take current Senator Mitch McConnell's seat. Would you like to tell us more about yourself?
Absolutely. Thank you. And thank you for having me. I love that you guys are engaged. I served 27 years in the United States Air Force. I lived in 11 different countries. I've worked with the State Department, the United Nations, and the 9/11 Commission. I've run large legal offices. I've been a practicing lawyer for 40 years. And why that makes a difference is the promise of America is being shredded. Right now, democracy is at stake, and we need for everyone to take action. This experiment called America has worked for 250 years. Now we need to put in some safeguards so that we can elevate it to America 2.0 and get another 1,000 years. That's why I'm running. I serve this country to pursue the promise. I serve this country, and I serve with thousands of others, some who gave the ultimate price, some who actually died so we could have freedom. Now, each one of us, we've got to stand up and protect what they died for.
Um, Next question is there any current ongoings or things you've noticed in your community?
The people are suffering. People, we are humans. And as humans, we need health care. You can't live in this body without health care. We need clean water, food, housing. Those are the basics to live this life. And we must make sure that the government facilitates every family having those things. Quite frankly, we've become comfortable with people sleeping with snow as a blanket. The homeless rates have gone up, cost of things have gone up, accessibility to healthcare has gone up, and we're not moving fast enough for the hundreds of people that are dying.
Um, On the topic of healthcare, is there any forms of policies or legislation that you'd hope to pass when in Congress to help with the cost of healthcare as it is right now?
Well, we've got to have a short-term and a long-term plan. The short-term plan is to make sure that Medicaid is available, that people have access to health care. The long-term plan is we've got to change the system so that it's not monetized. If you need health care to live in this body, we shouldn't be making money off of it to the exclusion of you getting health care. Now, it's all right to make money, but it shouldn't be you die, I make money.
While we're still on the topic of healthcare itself, um, I know there are several people who are concerned about the future of IVF, and there are also people concerned about abortion in Kentucky. What are your thoughts on those? And if you're for them, what are some ways of protecting those going forth?
The government exists purely to make sure that we all honor our responsibilities towards one another, not to tell you how to live your life, not to tell you what to do, and not to mandate that I follow what you believe. When we created this country, we said liberty and justice for all. We didn't say liberty and justice for those who agree with me. So we've got to get back to the principles of this country and make sure that every life has what they need to live. If I'm a minister, so if God puts someone in a body that they will never walk in life and the only thing they can do is look at the ceiling, then our job is to make that the best life possible. If God puts us in the circumstances that we're in, we must be brave enough to fight for other people and fight for ourselves. Not allow it's almost like letting somebody come in your house and telling you what your kids can eat for breakfast, what color to paint the walls, where to put the couch, and then leaving. That's not the purpose of government.
Moving on to congressional integrity, uh, I know there's been a lot of talk of term limits coming to Senate and everything else. What are your thoughts on those, and are you for or against them?
I am for term limits. I don't think anybody should be in a place for 50 plus years. At some point, it moves from serving the people to preserving your job. if we're going to keep fresh ideas going, if we're going to make sure that all voices are heard, then we need to rotate people through. And that includes hourly employees. It should not be so out of whack for someone that earns $10 an hour to want to serve in Congress. So we've got to get dark money out. We've got to account for who's in and support all people that want to serve.
Another concern is within the past year, gas prices have raised to like $1 the gallon, more than another $1 the gallon, and grocery store prices have upped by 2.1%. Would you be like working with your congressional colleagues to help lower those? And like, how so would you go about doing that?
If this government is to be for the people, by the people, to serve the people, then we must honor the people. And the best way to honor people is to make sure their families work. We've got to make smart economic decisions so that people have good paid jobs and that we don't do things to make the gas prices go up by $1 in 3 weeks. I mean, I used to pay $3.22 and now it's up to $3.79 because we didn't think through bombing another country. I was in the military. I read battle plans. I advised commanders on the rule of law, the rule of engagement, how to minimize damage in war, how to make sure that the promise of America was pursued. And this is not it. If you're going to get in, you got to get out, and you've got to have a plan. If you don't have a plan, the market responds with higher prices on everything.
For the first time in around 40 years, the seat is finally kind of attainable to other people. How will you go about flipping that seat from red to blue?
I have traveled all around the state, talking and listening to people. All people want are 3 things: their children to do better, their families to thrive, and for the one life they have to be able to make a difference. When we tend to that, then people respond. When I ran statewide before, my percentage points went up to the point of where they asked me, how did you get out in the rural areas and have people vote for you? Because I care about people and I care about listening to people. And I want to make sure that those 3 principles are paid attention to. We must be the government they expect us. All across this country, every day, we say, I pledge allegiance to the flag with liberty and justice for 2. No, we don't say that. We say for all. And the government needs to be focused on the all part, not just my rich friends, not just the people I like, but the people who form the government, and that is the people.
And then, with the ongoing conflict between Israel and Palestine, do you support sending supplies and such to Israel?
When I was in the military, I was responsible for advising commanders on what targets to hit, how to wage war, the rules of engagement. I traveled with the State Department, teaching other militaries how to do that. And the primary principle is, if you are a non-combatant, meaning you're not in uniform, you're not in the fight, we first do no harm. You don't hurt children, you don't hurt women, and you make sure that while we're waging this battle, that the civilians that have nothing to do with the war have what they need to live until this is over. We don't target children, women, or any of that. I know it's sort of a little silly having a civilized war, but if we are to regroup after the conflict is over, we've got to make sure we inflict as less damage as possible and only the amount needed to get the job done. A plan in, a plan out, with looking at life. How do we save life, particularly of people who are not combatants?
All right, and then finally, do you have anything to say to your fellow Kentuckians? Words of advice, a slogan, or even where they could find you?
Well, you can find me at PamelaStevenson.com. PamelaStevenson. The most important thing is engage. Engage. If you're 5 years old, engage. If you're 10 years old, engage. We've got what we've got right now today because we've not engaged. If you want to support my campaign for the U.S. Senate, contact me. Contact me through the email and we will put you busy. But here's the thing, this is not just about this campaign. This is about democracy. This is about so your great-great-grandchildren can have a country to come home to. This is about making sure that America stays home of the free, land of the brave. If you want a future, now is the time to act. You're put here for this. Act on it.
Thank you. With that being said, I think that's a wrap for this episode. Again, I'm Jill Hines. This is Pamela Stevenson. Thank you for joining us.
Oh, I forgot one more thing.
Yeah.
I'm a quilter. I won first place and third place in the Kentucky State Fair in my quilts. I love art because it speaks to the soul and it connects people. Thank you.
You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, or even find us online with our website, greenrivermedia.org. Thank you again for joining us today on this episode of Your Voice.